Get the Intel, the podcast meant for those of us trying to find out what the hell is going on in the field. Here we discuss tools, techniques, and approaches that you can implement to streamline operations and let you focus on your craft.
Hello, I'm Chad Gill. I'm the host of the Get the Intel podcast, as well as the This is Concrete podcast. So this episode is brought to you by Workforce Recon. Workforce Recon is a project tracking software that connects office to field crews. Their app Field Recon is built with a field-first mentality. Developed by contractors for contractors, it includes time and asset tracking, messaging, job documentation, and scheduling all in one place so you can see what's going on in the field. So if you're tired of finding out what happened days later, check us out at workforcerecon.com. See your operations in real time. So joining me today is Warren Rustand. So he is this could be a very long introduction, but we'll just jump to where we hear from him. But he's an Amazon best-selling author of The Leader Within Us and a longtime CEO and advisor, business strategist, who's also the co-founder of EO's Global Leadership Academy in DC. So definitely, Warren, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I won't read all of the other accolades you have, but we'll definitely put them in the write-up. It's everything from working with presidents to companies to nonprofits. It's quite an amazing path you've had.
Well, thank you, Chad. I appreciate being on, and thanks for all the good work you're doing with all your contracting friends and giving them information and insight that they need to have to be more successful. So it's a great industry and a great business, and it doesn't go without its ups and downs and its challenges, and some of those are present right now. But indeed, it's such a core industry for this country, and it's got to be good. So we appreciate what you're doing.
I'm glad they're doing a lot of it too. So that makes it better for all of us. Absolutely. So just a quick kind of run up for someone that might not be totally aware with what you do. You start out so you start on a farm, you get into a little bit of basketball, then you're into the political arena. And by a little bit of basketball, I mean, college, NBA, the whole spiel. It's a whole lot of basketball.
Well, I was lucky. I grew up on a poor farm, and I was poor, and we grew what we ate, and we didn't go to town very often because we didn't have much money to buy anything. And I thought it was a great life. As a young child growing up, we had horses and cows and pigs and sheep and chickens, and we were in the farm business all the time. So we worked hard, right? And I think those are important qualities to learn as we're growing up. Then had a chance to play basketball at the University of Arizona, got drafted by a group that maybe some of you know, and that's the Golden State Warriors. Had an opportunity to look at that life, and then went back to graduate school. I actually was a assistant Division I coach at the University of Arizona for 3 years while I was also getting my graduate degrees, and then went off to become a CEO of a business when I was about 23 or 24 years old and try to find out what that was all about. So I've been very fortunate. Opportunities been placed in my way, and been fortunate to take advantage of some of them.
That's amazing. And I know a lot of what we talked about when we met was you now spend a lot of time mentoring other people, and I'm assuming that's very gratifying. It's like coaching, but maybe it's more life than just business. But how many people are you mentoring now, and what does that look like?
Well, I'm currently mentoring 41 CEOs right now, and so it's going to take about 5 to 6 hours a day, an hour a Zoom call each one. And I love it. It's fantastic. It's an opportunity to help younger CEOs become the best version of themselves and become the best person they can. And so I differentiate among 3 different skill sets, right? One is teaching, which is presenting information. One is coaching, which is usually about systems and process. And then mentoring, which is really about transformation of a human being from where they are to where they want to be. And so those are the 3 different distinctions that I make. And I like mentoring the best because it deals with the totality of a person's life. It's a holistic and integrated approach to everything a person does: business, family, community, self. And it's an opportunity to influence people in a way that maybe makes them better. So I'm hopeful that I'm doing okay at it. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
So when you meet with these people, do you see a theme? Do you see a common theme, like where they go through stages? Is there some things where you have a new mentee I know I'm going to have to cover this with them because I mean, they're going to be a type A driven, hardworking individual. They wouldn't be where they are if they weren't. So that's kind of table stakes to get into your arena. But do you see a lot of commonalities that come from this where you're just like, oh, well, we're definitely going to have to start here?
Well, yeah, and Chad, you know too that we belong to a global organization of entrepreneurs, right? There's some 17,000 entrepreneurs in 100 countries, so we get to see a lot of entrepreneurs, and there are some common themes. One is we're creative. We tend to take more risk. We tend to be involved way over our head most of the time, doing more things than we should actually be doing, and so we have these themes, right? And we also have the themes of lacking discipline sometime, and the idea that we move from one thing to another very quickly without necessarily completing things. So you kind of take that as a bundle of knowledge when you first start mentoring someone. And then I have 6 questions that I ask that come out of psychometrics and psychology for a person to write about before I will take them on as a mentee. And that is those 6 questions are very deep and very involved, and some people write 40, 50 pages about answering those questions. And then I talk to them about their answers. And then we step back from each other and say, am I the right fit to mentor this person? And the person that's thinking about me as a mentor has to also decide, is this the right person for me? And so we kind of size each other up in that way. And I want to be sure that I can help someone. I don't want to just be involved in frivolous activities. I want to be sure that I can really be an added value to their life in some way. So we take it very seriously, and it's very purposeful. And I mentor for a minimum of a year with any individual. Most of the people that I mentor, I would say 95% of them are with me from 6 to 10 years. So it's long-standing relationships. I get to know them extremely well.
So when you talk about you take it very seriously, I think that's something that you see with both consultants and coaches and mentors along the way, is making sure that that both of you have it in a, it's a cordial experience, but you want to make sure that you have rigidity and discipline in how you meet and stuff. How do you handle that and express that with people? Because you're dealing with busy people.
Yeah, that's right. Well, first of all, it takes preparation for a session for both of us. Each of us has to come prepared to a session. There's oftentimes specific things. I pass on very specific information. We talk about how that is going to work within their context, either in their family, their business, their community, or for themselves, and how that's going to work, how that's going to fit. We talk about their patterns, rituals, and habits, right? Aristotle said we are what we repeatedly do. So the things we do out of habit are really who we are. And we can make excuses, but if we don't have a morning routine, right, we know that successful people have a morning routine. Every president that I worked with had a morning routine. Every general that I know has a morning routine. Every successful person I know has a morning routine. And so if someone doesn't have a morning routine, they're missing something, right? They're not in preparation. That's a habit. It's a pattern. It's a ritual. So we talk about those things. We talk about how they schedule time, how they utilize time. And we do analysis on time logs for an individual over a period of time. And I can usually give a person about 25% of their time back because they're frivolous, right? They're not taking time seriously. So there are all of those kinds of things that we work through. And then we work on specific circumstances. For instance, I've had 7 people this year that I mentor who have exited their companies, who've made exactly the number they want to make, and are now all multimillionaires on to the next phase of their life. Well, it's not only taking them through the sale of their company, but it's preparing them for the next phase of their life. Because one day you're a CEO in a company, everybody's lauding you and recognize you, and so. And the next day after you sell your company, you're no longer the CEO. Nobody's calling you, right? And so you've got this vast wasteland out there, and you've got to make something out of it, right? So there are a whole series of things like that we spend time on. And most of all, I think we want to make them better fathers, better sons and daughters, better significant others. We want them to have a rich family life, to meet their accountabilities and responsibilities with their families. And so we talk a lot about family. We think that's really important. I think that's square one. I think that's the most important thing we do in life is our families. So, and then I think, what are they doing to give back to their community? How are they interacting with their community to make it better? and how do they learn through that process to be a good valued member of the community. So we have a lot of things that we talk about, a lot of things that we do, and happy to say that the people I mentor are really good people and doing a really great job.
No, I can imagine it. And it sounds like they are going to be deep and probing questions that you're asking. And I'm curious to hear about the morning routine. Like, why is that so important? I have heard that numerous times, and I agree with it. What is it about a morning routine? Is it about taking control early? Is it or what is why is that such a critical starting point?
It is because we're setting our mind for the day. We're setting our intentions for the day. So there are different kinds of people who wake up in the morning. I'm often reminded that my dad used to tell me there are two kinds of people that wake up in the morning. The first person jumps out of bed, they're ready for the day, and they say, "Good morning, Lord," and they're ready for the challenge of the new day. The other person peeks out from under the covers and says, "Good Lord, it's morning." The difference is attitude, right? The difference is attitude. And so I teach what's called 10, 10, and 10. As soon as you know you're awake, you swing your legs out over the edge of the bed, but you sit on the edge of your bed and you ask, why am I alive today? Why was my life spared for today? Meaning, what's my purpose for the day? And we have to define our highest purpose. We all have 100 things to do every day, but the only thing that matters is that we get the most important things done. And so we have to live our life by executing on our priorities, not just tasks. Everybody has tasks. Tasks don't drive the world. Our priorities drive the world. And so we have to be focused on what's most important. Some days I have to be a great management leader in the morning. Some days I have to be a great negotiator. Some days I have to be a wonderful father or grandfather, and stay focused on what's most important. So that's the first piece. Then take 10 minutes and be grateful. Just find a place somewhere by yourself and just be grateful for our lives. My goodness gracious, we have families and homes and communities and businesses and health, and we have so many reasons to be grateful. But we know from research that a grateful heart is an open heart and an open mind for success. And then the next 10 minutes, read something that's inspirational, right? Read something that is very exciting. For instance, I just finished reading The 100 Greatest Speeches Ever Given. So it's Mandela and Mother Teresa and Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt, and really some interesting people. But it's this notion of being inspired, right? Lifting us up. And in the last 10 minutes, write in a journal, a daily journal, about the good things that are going on in our life, the lessons, the good lessons that we've learned, even from bad experiences, but the good things that are going on in our life. And that's the genealogy piece of us, right? That's our legacy. That's what we're going to leave behind for our family after we leave. And they'll know how we thought and our experiences and how we think about life. Now, you've spent 31 minutes doing this, a minute on the edge of your bed, 10 minutes of gratefulness, 10 minutes in inspirational reading, and 10 minutes of journaling. So you ask yourself, where's your mind? Well, it's very positive, right? It's in a very good place. And so then you do the next thing that you have to do, the hardest thing you're going to do all day, you go work out. And why do we do that? Well, because in your mid-30s, your muscles begin to atrophy, your bone density begins to decrease. And unless you build those things, you'll be old by the time you're 40. And you and I, Chad, both know people who are old at 40 or 50, and people who are young at 80, right? And it's all about mindset and how we take care of our bodies during that period of time. So those notions have to be there, right? We're going to work out. And the average adult needs 150 minutes of exercise a week, 3 to 4 times, 30 minutes at a time. Get your heart rate up above 140 points, right? And then you're going to be healthy. You're going to be good. And then the next piece is nutrition. So you gotta hydrate when you're done, and you gotta have protein within an hour of working out. And then the next piece is the fourth piece of your day, which is how do you schedule your time? We get 86,400 seconds a day. That's all we get. Nobody gets any more or less. All that matters is how good are you with 86,400 seconds a day. And so what I mentor people on is how to optimize themselves in that 86,400 seconds a day. And so there are very specific processes of how to schedule. Where did I learn that? I learned that by being the appointment secretary of the President of the United States. And I had to schedule all of the time for the President of the United States and manage his time. And I learned that every minute counts. Every single minute counts. And if we can do that well, then we have a huge advantage over those who don't.
That's tremendous. And I'm just trying to, I know what you're saying, and it sounds perfect. And you're like, okay, and so I'm trying to picture a man as busy as the President of the United States, and you walk in and saying, you're super busy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take an hour and 10 minutes out of your day right off the get-go. And I'm wondering what the pushback from that is. People come to you, people are, when I would assume that people are coming to you, not because they want to go to the next level, the next stretch, and typically, people that come to me, they're very, very, they're almost proud of how busy they are. And and sometimes that's part of the problem too.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think of the reaction when you're like, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay claim to the first hour and 10 minutes. You're going to give me 70 minutes or so. That is not your work, but that's going to make the rest of your day more valuable, I think.
That's right. That's exactly right. And every president, I've had an opportunity to associate with 5 presidents. They all had morning routines. President Ford, the first president I worked for, he swam every morning without exception. He would swim for a half an hour before he ever came to the office. He would read. In his case, he read the Bible and he read other good books, but he would read for inspiration every morning before he came to the office. And he would say that he would tell you that when he showed up at the office at 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, that he was in a much better place for having done that than simply rolling out of bed, grabbing a cup of coffee. What do we typically do in the morning? Well, we brush our teeth, we go to the bathroom, we walk the dog, we turn on TV, we read a newspaper, we pick up our cell phone. None of those things prepare you for a great day. Not one of those things is going to help you have a great day. Unless we prepare our mind, unless we steel ourselves against what's the buffetings of life and be ready for that, we aren't doing anything to help ourselves.
Wow. So now we convince somebody to say, okay, we're gonna set in for this morning routine, and now we're going to talk about time utilization, and it's funny because you mentioned nutrition, because I was just looking into intermittent fasting, and I was trying to figure out where that all fits into it. But yes,
right.
But which I like, because again, saves some time. But time utilization. How do you start to break down someone's schedule when they're in that manner to try and get efficiency in their usage of time?
Yeah. So most people, Chad, make lists every day that they should get done, right? The to-do list. We're all famous for to-do lists. And we list things. We just list things. We don't list them in priority. We just list stuff as they come to our mind. And so we might have 20 things we have to get. We got to pick up dog food and get the car washed and pick up the laundry. And oh, by the way, got to negotiate the acquisition of a $100 million company and so forth and so on. They're just all kind of there, right? And so that's the first big mistake, is that we don't exercise priority. So I believe there are 2 things that are critical about time. One is, where is it on your priority schedule, right? And then 2, it has to be time-based. So you have to get something done in a specific time frame. Everything is by when, all right? Whether I ask someone else to do it or I'm doing it myself, when am I going to do it? And so what I've done is I created these for the President of the United States first, but now I use them all the time, and I show them to others, and I have others using them. All of the people I mentor use them. And those are priority. So I have a piece of paper for family, business, community, and self. A single 8.5 by piece of paper. And on there, I have room to write 3 highest priorities, 1, 2, and 3. What is your highest priority in family, for example? What's your second priority in family? What's your third priority in family? These are the most critical things that you have to deal with in your family. And then under each priority, you write down the milestones that you have to achieve in order to, get rid of that priority, in order to exercise that priority. And off to the right of that milestone, there's a time and date by which you have to have it done. Let me give you an example on family. I've been traveling a great deal, and I hadn't been spending enough time with my wife. And I went to her and I said, honey, we've been married 58 years. I love you. I want to spend more time with you. So here's my plan. That's my highest priority in the family, is spending more time with you. So how about it if every Friday night we have a date night? A lot of us do that. Let's have a date night every Friday night. I'll plan the entire date. You get to ask one question. Every woman knows what the question is. What should I wear? They all know, what should I wear, right?
That's right.
But I'm going to plan it. I'm not asking you to plan, honey. I'm going to plan it. Okay. And so we might go for a bicycle ride, a horseback ride, go to the opera, go to the Broadway play, go for a drive, but I plan it. So she doesn't have to worry about it. The second thing I said to her is, I love to drive. You love to be a passenger. How about if every quarter we go for a 3-day drive? And she asked what every person would ask. Where are we going? I said, it doesn't matter. We're going to pick a direction and go. No reservations. We'll throw some stuff in the car, some clothes in the car. And what I'm saying to her is, I just want to be with you. I just want to spend time with you. I want to talk with you. Right. So we're going to go driving, pick a direction. We'll just go driving for 3 days. And then I said, twice a year, you get to choose 1 week somewhere in the world where you want to go. And I'll go with you and I'll plan it for you. And you don't have to worry about it, but you choose the place and I'll do all the planning for them. Now, if you don't want me to go, that's okay. You can take a girlfriend and head off and do it yourself, which she has done on occasion, right? She'll take a girlfriend off somewhere, but I plan it and I exercise all of that for her. So she doesn't have to worry about that. Now, so I go back. What was my priority? Spending more time with my wife. If I have a date night every week, right? If we travel for 3 days every quarter just to talk, and if we get 2 weeks of vacation alone, just wherever we want to go in the world, that helps me, right? That helps us communicate better and spend more time together. So I hope that's an example that makes sense to you, Chad. But it's this notion of committing to priorities. Now, what about business? If you said today, what's my highest priority in my business? What's the most important thing I have to do? And then you listed the milestones under that you have to hit in order to achieve that priority. And you put a date beside each one by when you're going to have that done. What are the chances of you getting it done? They increase exponentially that you'll get it done if you do it by priority. But if you just list it with 20 other things on a to-do list, the chances of getting done are almost non-existent, right? People wonder why they don't get stuff done on time. People wonder why 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they're tired and they haven't even done the most important thing that they had to do that day, right? Because that should have been done at 8 o'clock in the morning. What we have to do most is what's most important. That's what we have to do most. That's what makes great CEOs. And sometimes we get sucked into what everybody else wants. They want answers. They want to come to us. You got to manage that stuff away from you so that you can provide the leadership necessary to be extraordinary.
I think that is hugely insightful, but it's exactly what you're trying to point at is trying to choose the things, because that task list grows and grows and it seems like it's never ending. It's like a scroll. Whatever you knock off the top, it's just got a bottom that's going to continue to come. And so you never get the satisfaction of saying I completed, because it's just one more in a row. Yeah. As opposed to if you're looking at a priority and a milestone. And I did this. My priority was to create a business that had a general manager that could run it. Now, I don't know if it was the greatest of ideas, but what I did was I hired a general manager. He's fantastic. And 2 weeks later, I told him that in 6 months, I was going to leave for a month. I didn't know how I was going to do it. He didn't know how we were going to do it. But that deadline definitely put intensity behind everything that we did.
Yes.
And it happened, and I don't know if it would have happened otherwise. But I also had a fellow EOer. He committed to do the same thing. And then we bet $1. It could have been $1 million, but it was the $1 and the bragging rights that really made the bet stick. And he and I both hit our mark, which was fantastic.
Yeah. The other thing, Chad, that if I may, you mentioned this earlier, excuse me, this notion that everybody's busy today. When was the last time you met someone, I meet a lot of people, you meet a lot of people. And you say, how you doing? And they said, hey, I got everything under control. Everything's okay. It's not a problem. Life is really good. I'm relaxed. No, they don't. What people say is, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so busy. I got so many things going on. Well, I would never hire that kind of person. I don't think you would, because their life is out of control. Why would you hire someone who can't manage their own time? Right? I just wouldn't do that. So if I'm hiring C-suite executives, they better have their life under control, because if not, it's going to spill over into the workplace. And it's going to be a problem for me. And so this whole notion of just stop the notion and stop the glorification of busy is just a bunch of junk. And it's suddenly been accepted in society that you have to be busy. I don't think that's true. What you have to be is productive, not busy. And so we got to focus on productive. Productive means doing what's most important every day. So that if you only get one thing done each day, it's what's most important. Right. And everything else can fall away. And getting CEOs, getting entrepreneurs specifically to focus in that way is challenging.
Yes, because you want to do sometimes you just want to knock off easy things. So you feel like you did something. But if they don't match that priority,
That's right.
Accomplished anything.
Well, you take that to-do list, right? And it feels really good to look down the to-do list and you got 20 things checked off.
Oh, yeah.
But the most important thing is still on the list, right? So
yeah. It'd be the equivalent of a firefighter saying, man, the truck is clean, the rims are great, everything is good. Did you put water in it? No.
Yeah. That's
well,
right.
we're going to need that water.
Yeah. So I just, it's a different way of looking at it, a different way of thinking about it. And so the people that I mentor change how they schedule. And I schedule in 15-minute increments, right? So there are a lot of things that don't require 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I think anything over an hour is called a retreat. I just don't think you need that much time. Really? I think you go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, you stop work at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you take care of your responsibilities as a family person, man or woman, on either side of that. And you ought to be able to, if you're really good at what you do, in 8 or 10 hours a day, you ought to really be able to build a great company. You don't need 16 hours a day to do it. And we have to stop using work as an excuse not to be with our family.
So that's a great segue. I appreciate it, because you can't be around you long without hearing about your faith and your family. And both of them seem super strong. Your family story is phenomenal. I would ask you to tell it, but it made me feel terrible as a parent. So I don't know if I can sit through it again, because I'm so embarrassed. But it's great. I think all the things that you do with them are amazing. But I recently read a book called The Go Giver. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but and actually interviewing him on a podcast a bit later than this. But what I loved about it was somehow matching your faith to, can you be a good Christian, faithful person and be very good in business without it costing you one of the two? Do you run into many people that have a challenge with doing that, or what do you tell them?
Well, I think it's this notion of the quest for a moral life. And we all make mistakes and we come up short. We just do. That's the human experience, right? But our constant quest to be a strong moral person is important to all of us. And when we're doing that, we serve as a wonderful model and example for the children we raise. If we're doing that, the chances of our children staying close to us and not getting distracted into other things that are pretty dangerous today are really good. And so I think we need to take our children with us in this quest for a strong moral life. And part of that's our religion, our faith. Part of that's our service to our community. Part of it is showing others, particularly our children, how we lend a hand to people in need. That could be a homeless person on the street corner. It could be any number of things, a neighbor that needs help, someone that's just been sick, all those kinds of things. We need to demonstrate conclusively every day that we care about other people, because that's what we understand and are taught from the time we're little children. And so I really strongly believe that we can have it all. I don't think, there are a lot of people out there who are naysayers. Oh, you can't have it all. You can be good in business, but you can't be great in family and business. Or you can be good in family and business, but you can't be good in the community too. I just don't believe that. I believe with us managing our lives and our times well, being productive rather than just being busy, and being focused on our priorities, we get everything done that we want to get done. And we have 7 children, 6 boys and a girl. We have 19 grandchildren. We all live together on a 60-acre compound in Tucson, Arizona, a little farm. The kids have built homes there. We see each other every day. We're 3 generations living together. We don't have arguments. We don't get after each other. Our kids all get along like they're being raised as siblings. It's a wonderful life for us. It's a great life for us. We couldn't ask for anything better. But that doesn't mean we don't have challenges and obstacles and failures and all that stuff, but it surrounds us with love and support in a way that makes us stronger. And I think that's really helpful for us. So I think you can have it all. I think you can have a great life. And I think we can constantly, over our lifetime, get better every day. There's a concept called the aggregation of marginal gains. And that's this notion of, can I get 1% better every day at the stuff that I can I just make a little progress every day? And if I make a little progress every day over a year, 2 years, 5 years, I can dramatically improve my life. I can get better at everything that I do. And so this aggregation of marginal gains, I think, is an important concept. And we teach our children that we're not asking you to make great jumps. We're not asking you to improve 25%. Just get a little bit better every day on your grades, in sports, in music. Just try a little harder, get a little bit better. Kids can understand that, and they respond to that. I can understand that as an adult. If I can just get a little bit better each day, my life's going to be pretty good.
It's the compounding interest effect, but on a life.
Exactly right. You just apply it to your life. Exactly right. It's the penny a day, doubling a penny a day theory, right?
That's right. Yeah. Which would you rather have?
Yeah, that's right. So
that's probably.
I just think the world, Chad, is open to us to do as we will, and knowing that there will be a recession here and there. There's going to be a COVID-19 here and there. There's going to be a financial collapse 2018 here and there. There's going to be a tech crash in 2000. There's going to be the bird flu and the swine flu and HIV and all. We can either talk about the bad things, or we can focus on the good things and get on with life. And I choose to focus on the good things.
And there's a lot of good. Just people don't talk about it as much.
That's right. Yeah, it doesn't sell as well, right? It doesn't.
That's true. It may sell. It doesn't sell as well as your morning routine, and I think that's probably a hard sell in the beginning for people as well.
It is.
But it's a challenge worth accepting. Absolutely.
Yep, I agree.
Warren, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to catch up with you again soon. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about it, and let you know how I go with this. Been trying to set a morning routine myself now, and this might be the last thing that makes the switch click over, or God forbid one of my clients will hear that I don't have a morning routine that I've been preaching, and then that's even worse.
Well, do the morning routine for 60 days and then send me a note and tell me how you're feeling, because you're going to feel a lot better and you're going to get a lot more done. Chad, I really appreciate you inviting me on your show. Thank you so much. You're doing great work for lots of people. I appreciate that very much. And I'm always available if you want to have a conversation.
Thank you, Warren. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chad.
Thanks for listening to Get the Intel. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.